They postponed the opening one night, and the next night they were still bolting down seats when then there was dust in there. The first night they had to cancel it because there was so much dust in the building on the ice and everything. Everybody was excited. We'd, for years, coming up through junior, and even the professional teams played in the old gardens.
It was a 5,200 seat building that was certainly outdated.
The crowd was really close to you. The ice surface was unique in that it was really long and quite narrow, and there was a huge amount of room behind the net. Always great ice, but quite an old building.
There was lots of obstructed views, there was pillars, and you'd be out on the ice, and they used to do the fried onions for the hot dogs. You could smell that on the ice. And of course everybody smoked, so you had that to contend with.
There was no glass, I mean it was just the wires, so those smells and that were, came through.
I grew up watching hockey and playing hockey in the old Edmonton Gardens. And then of course when they built the Northlands Coliseum years later and the transition came here, I was part of that as well, coming to the games as a young boy, watching the WHA games.
It'll be neat to see the new building, but at the same time it's a great old building. I mean, I remember still watching games over in the old Edmonton Gardens. So I've seen the building since day one, and it'll be fun to see it right to the bitter end.
In November of 1974, the Oilers played their first game in this building. I think it was against Cleveland in the World Hockey Association. I can remember coming to the game that night, walking down to the bench and looking around at this beautiful new building that we had. In that corner right over there, there was about 30 guys still frantically screwing in seats to that section. I mean, it was just that close.
We actually dressed in our old dressing rooms in the Edmonton Gardens. Our dressing room wasn't finished, the showers weren't done, so we put all of our equipment on, put on our sweaters, put our skates and sticks over our shoulders, and walked across with the fans across the skywalk there between the Edmonton Gardens and here.
To get 15,000 into the building here, I mean, it was noisy and exciting, and the atmosphere was just terrific.
I remember just, in awe, coming into a building where she was full, and back even in the World Hockey days, it was what an excitement, and it was a thrill.
In its day, it was the Taj Mahal of hockey in Canada.
That was a serious upgrade, and we thought it was a palace.
Nobody thought that Edmonton would have a chance to join the NHL, and when it did happen, it was an incredible day for the city. A lot of incredible hockey fans that went around and cheered for the original 6 teams, and there we were playing right against them, so it was a fantastic experience.
After that year, I went to Africa on a safari. 6 of us organized a safari. We rented a van, drove around the country, looked at everything. We went all over Nairobi. I can't remember the name of this beach town that we went to. Anyway, we sat in the bar, we were having a couple of beers, and there was 2 girls that were sitting maybe where you are from my distance, and they were talking about the upstart Edmonton Oilers that had just beat the Montreal Canadiens. And this was in the middle of Africa. 2 girls, Canadian girls, and we're talking about the Edmonton Oilers, which was outstanding as far as I was concerned.
We had actually all come to a Billy Joel concert here the night before, the night of the last game of the regular season, the last games that we were being played. And nobody knew who we were going to be playing. And we came down to the dressing room, and Glenn Saylor said, "All right, we know who we're playing. It's the Montreal Canadiens." It was like letting the air out of the balloon. Everybody was like, "Oh no," because they had won the Stanley Cup like 4 years in a row, and we thought we had I think we all thought we had no chance.
They score! Centering it again right over the corner, comes, they score! And there's the 4th goal to the Oilers, led by Gretzky's 5 assists. They handle Montreal in convincing fashion.
And it wasn't just that the Oilers squeaked out victories over the Habs. They flat out beat them, but you could see that they were on the precipice of something special. And that was, I think, for most guys that were fortunate enough to have been around at that time, that was the first time you realized this could be a very special group for a very long time.
the city was just going absolutely berserk. There wasn't anybody in hockey gave the Oilers any chance whatsoever of beating the fabled Montreal Canadiens.
I wanted to do something that Montreal wasn't quite ready for. So I brought Andy Moog up, started him, and he was great.
The playoffs, a great thrill for you, different atmosphere. Did you ever think you'd see this one?
It's so exciting, I can't believe it. I was preparing all season long for the Central League playoffs, and here I am in the National League. I just prepared all I could. I knew I was facing some of the best shooters in the hockey, and it paid off. I was prepared and it worked tonight.
Clinching game against Montreal in the '81 playoffs was probably the most significant for me in terms of this building. That Montreal series, that was really the first time the stadium and the city said, oh, we might have a goalie here. This guy might be able to get the job done, and they embraced me. I felt like the stadium was behind me.
Now the crescendo, little Andy Moog has gone into the net.
One memory that really sticks out for me is came back here for Game 3, and I'll never forget the fans. We could hear that we never could hear them in the dressing room previously. The building was so loud, and the stomping on the metal stands, we could hear it in the dressing room.
Here they come. The crowd is standing. Andy Moog, Gretzky, Messier, Hicks, Hunter, and we let the crowd take over.
It was exhilarating. It was so spine-tingling, and whatever other descriptive you want to use.
I remember watching the game with my dad and I remember asking my dad, it's only the first round, like, why is everyone so excited? And he put it to me on terms I can understand. He's like, you don't understand, these people they basically beat the Yankees. You know, and that was the thought process, is the Canadiens were the all-time dynasty.
It was a series, I don't think a lot of players, and it's like what Dave Lumley says, that you'll never forget a series like that, ever, no.
It was hard to believe, even though I was part of it and witnessed the whole thing. This was the famous Montreal Canadiens, and not only were we beating them in the series, but we swept them.
And that was sort of the jump start to that whole feeling of self-confidence for the Oilers at that time, not only for the city, but for the players. You know, it proved to themselves that they just beat the Montreal Canadiens.
For us, it was an opportunity to make a name for ourselves. No way did we ever think that we're going to beat Montreal in 3 games, but magic happened that series, and we found ourselves on the winning end.
Has shocked and stunned the Canadian fans. They have surprised everybody from coast to coast in Canada, I'm sure. But they have been an outstanding hockey team.
And I think if we ever look back on anything at the start of our careers and the start of the young Edmonton Oilers and an NHL franchise, that would be one time in our history that we could look back and say, wow, that was a defining moment for us.
Through everything that would come later, I don't think I ever saw that team happier or more excited than when they beat the Montreal Canadiens in that first series. That was a huge stepping stone for the team and the organization, and it was just just the beginning of a very good time for hockey in our city.
Coming up in part 2 of Farewell Rexall Place.
Anderson knocked it down. He's got it to Gretzky. He's got the open net.
I said something like, will he shoot? He does. He scores. And 5 goals tonight for Wayne Gretzky.
50th goal in 50 games. He has broken the record.
As far as a great memory, it's just like how loud that building was, how special the fans were, and how much they appreciated a good game of hockey.
Well, cups, you know, that's what you study a season, and that's what you focus, that's what you aim to do.
Some teams don't learn from their mistakes, and we had so much respect for the Islanders. And we learned from that, and we took that into the next season, and consequently we ended up winning the Stanley Cup.